71st RTT. My first barracks, 4 years, was the Holden Barracks substation. Second barracks, 4 years, was the Leominster Barracks. And then the entire rest of the career was Devon's Barracks, 24 years there, with a year away from Devon's to go back to Leominster for the admin schedule. So the entire 31 years was on the road patrol. South Boston, I lived in South Boston during the busing. I was 5. I lived on Telegraph Street, and it was pretty horrific. The high school was at the top of the street, and the projects were down the other end of the street, where up from our apartment, and they would come out of the projects with trees, rocks, and everything to prevent the buses from coming up there. So the state police, MDC police, Boston police were lining the streets and in the schools. I was just in elementary school, so it wasn't affecting me. I was in kindergarten at that time, but then luckily we moved away from Southie when I was 6 because I don't know where my life would have went. We grew up very poor on welfare. I can remember going to the store with food stamps at 4 years old to get milk, bread, and cigarettes. And probably the other, I don't know why, the memories I have, they're all bad. Few. The kids that lived next door to us, the O'Briens, they were like 17 at the time. And I was 5. And they grabbed me and locked me in the shopping cart in their backyard. They put a piece of plywood over it for like a few hours. I don't remember how long. And I never told my mother because they said they would do something to my family, so I never did. And I had a big wheel. We lived on the second floor that I'd keep on the first floor. They burnt the back wheels off it just for the heck of it. So my mother had an inn at the Arlington housing or the South Boston projects. And fortunately, we got Arlington housing. I wasn't inspired. I was an electrician for 5 years in the union. And my last 4th and 5th year of doing electrical work was very slow. So I was getting laid off a lot. It was in 1992. And a bunch of my friends, like 8 of them, knew about the state police tests, and they were signing up for it. I said, I'll sign up for it. And I took it in Waltham High School. I got a 96, and of all the 8 of us, I was the only one that got a call to get on. It's kind of based on how I grew up being poor. At 23 years old, I basically had 2 careers. I was a licensed electrician and a state trooper, and I don't know my father. I never met the man. Have you read the book Hillbilly Elegy or saw the movie about J.D. Vance? My life was very similar to that, except his grandparents helped him academically. Nobody. The only people that helped me out academically was my teachers. That's it. So as I recently retired, I look back, I'm like, I don't even know how I did it. Compared, there was so many. There's my mom, single mother, and I don't know my father. Next sister doesn't know her father, and the 2 youngest ones, their father lived with us in Southie. That's when my mother first met him. So that's that. Where I grew up and how I was living my life, and I was very easily manipulated by some of the people I hung around with. If I didn't go into the academy, my life could have turned to an entirely different way. I know it could have. So fortunately it didn't. 71st RTT, our graduation date was October 14th, 1993. I remember had to be day one, probably one of the greatest men I ever met, my drill instructor, Trooper Mike Domnarski. I didn't know the phonetic alphabet. We were standing in the platoon, and he had our pocket notebook out. My name is Delta Oscar, and I'm trying to spell out the whole words. I'm like, I can't write that fast. So I didn't know. So that's the first funny memory. And then my first roommate, Dan Gale, he's retired too. Because I wasn't in the military, I wasn't too good at like making the bed, but he had been to the Air Force Academy and he stopped going, so he knew all about it. So it was good having him as my first roommate. And then one other good kind of funny story. One of the trainees in the academy, when we were stretching in the morning, he yawned. He was like next to me, and one of the drill instructors, I think the PT instructor, called him out on it. I saw you yawn. And he was denying it. So we go for the run. when we come back from the run, his room was on the second floor. We came back from the run, the whole bedroom was out on the grass. They had to have placed some of it out there, because if they threw it out the window, it would have broke. The bureau, the bed frame, the mattress, everything was outside on the ground. And then we just helped him pick everything, and he stayed in. The 3 trooper coaches I had were Jim Canty, Dave Cortez, and Mark Ballantyne. Great guys, 3 different personalities. My first shift was the eve shift. This is another thing. I didn't have glasses then when I was going through the academy. I didn't know I needed them. So I couldn't read a lot of the stuff off the whiteboard. So I was copying my neighbor's notes. Still never got them when I'm out on the road, and my trooper coach told me to run the plate in front of us. I go, I can't read that. So lo and behold, and then one of the earliest stops we had together on the eve shift, we stopped a guy for suspended. At this time, I didn't have the glasses yet. Stopped a guy who was suspended, and then I think we summoned him. Summons it for suspended license. Now I get the glasses. It's like a week later. And there was a distinctive thing. I remember it was like a Pontiac, but I don't remember what make. But there was a distinct bumper sticker on the car. I forget what it was. So we're driving down 290, and now I have the glasses. I saw the car again, and the guy driving again. And I told my trooper, that's him again. He's like, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. He goes, those glasses really work. So we pulled him over. This time we arrested him because we saw him twice, within the same couple of weeks. It took me 7 years. I started from the beginning I got my bachelor's degree through Western New England College, part-time, because it took so long because I could only afford 1 class or 2 classes at a time. The first time I saw that school's campus in Springfield was just this fall, because my fiance's son played them in football, because we never went to the campus. It was all satellite. It was 2004. Me and my classmate Chris Doherty both worked at Devon's. We're both driving around on the same cruiser because we wanted to run radar together. You don't normally do that, which this is a blessing. There was a shooting in Fitchburg. One guy shot and killed. The other guy shot, but not dead, in the car. The witness was on the second floor of a 2-family and said the car was a red Cadillac with a tan roof. 4 dark-skinned males with do-rags. I think that's it. So I said to Chris, I'm like, let's jump out on Route 2 and sit there by Jackson Road. Maybe they're driving back to Boston. So now, in the meantime, ballistics is at C4. Fitchburg is sitting on a red Cadillac, they said, downtown on tan roof, waiting to find somebody. While we're sitting there, that's a very distinctive car. A green Cadillac, same car with a tan roof, goes by. I said, Chris, I'm shining my alley light, and if there's 4 guys with do-rags in that, we're pulling it over. Sure enough, it was. We pulled it over, did the felony stop. On the radio at the barracks on the desk, they're saying, you guys have the wrong car. Fitchburg is sitting on a red car. They have it. And then we're talking, we're like, no, we don't. There was one thing, there was Burger King food in the car. Chris noticed this, and it was still warm. The only Burger Kings is one in Fitchburg and one in Leominster. And all 4 of them were saying they were coming back from some girl's house in Shirley, but none of them knew the name. So that didn't jive. And we had backup come. Backup comes. Sure enough, the kid was kind of moving around in the back seat. So in the back passenger seat, we lifted up the seat, and there were 2 guns and 60 grams of cocaine. So now we all arrested him. And then we didn't have to get a warrant because we already found that, but the detectives wanted to get a warrant on the car. We had it towed back to C4. They opened the hood, and in the engine compartment was another gun. Like they had it stuffed in there. And there was a piece of white cloth on the gun, and the kid that was the driver had that same style cloth in his pocket. He was the only one of the 4 that didn't really have anything for a record. And the car was, I believe, like owned by some girl from Chelsea. The 2 kids in the back were brothers, Jamaica Plain. The other kid, Strong, in the front passenger, he was like Roxbury, but they had committed many like robberies and stuff in Boston before that. Anyways, the case goes so that, they had done shoe impressions at the scene in Fitchburg, and when they had them in the booking bench right away, that these are the guys, I can see the sneakers. They all got arrested and then went to go to trial. None of the 3 guns were the murder weapon. The ballistics knew right away exactly what type of gun it was, and none of them were that. So the detectives, Mike Lyra being one of them, and I believe Dave Napolitano, both of my classmates, was the detectives. They went dumpster diving in the Burger King dumpsters to try to find the gun. Gun was never found. So it goes to trial as a murder charge, but no gun. So was to Superior Court, go through the case. Ultimately, the judge threw it out because we said we had no reason to stop the car because it was green, not red like they said. So everything else after that was done. Lo and behold, lucky for us, I don't know how much time went by, the district attorney appealed it. It went to appellate court, and he sent the whole thing. So basically what it was, somebody on that second floor, it was night, looking down, they got the color of the car wrong. So based on that, it did flip that we had a reason to stop the car, and based on that case, it made case law. So now I guess if another police officer, if they have something like that, they can use that to refer to. It was 190 by exit 5 on the northbound side. The guy, 3 people in the car, 2 guys and a girl. I pulled him over, I think for speeding, and I said, "Do you have your license or registration?" He said, "No, I don't have a license." I go, "You don't have it on you, or you don't have a license?" He's like, "I don't have it." I open the door, I go, "Get out." He takes off. Now I chase him, he goes 190 south. And they always teach us when you get out of the cruiser to lock it, turn the siren off. You do that, you're not going to catch the person, in my opinion. So goes south. He only goes down to exit 4, the one exit, and then he gets off, heads back past O'Connor's. There's a church down there. I think it's called St. Christopher's. He goes into there. It's 2 a.m. Lights, siren going. And I tried to pin him so that he couldn't get out of the car. Tried to get up as close as I could to the door. But he was able to get out. I thought the door of his car hit my front cruiser, but it was him. But not hard enough to, he jumped out and, bounced off the fender. So as I'm jumping out, running after him, the priest came out of the rectory to see what was going on. I'm like, "Sir, Father, sorry, but I have to chase after this guy." And he was drunk, so he didn't run far. He ran across the street, and he kind of was, hunkered down behind a bush. The other 2 just stayed in the car because they were drunk. And then I got him, I arrested him, and my classmate came to back me up, Sean Maloney, and we just arrested him, and then he took the 2 guys, and then I took the girl, because you have to have 2 guys in the same cruiser. But that was kind of, because I woke up the priest, and I was apologizing to him as I'm running after the guy. Yeah, I was on an episode of Real Stories to the Highway Patrol.
Cool.
We as young troopers didn't want to go with them, or didn't want them to go with us. But we had to because the senior guys refused to do it. Mine was not even a really big thing that they televised. I think they put it on there because it was a safety thing. It was just a woman with the little kid not in his car seat. And I was you can see it. Because I didn't even have my own cruiser then yet. It's a pool cruiser. It had to be 94. I think it was my first summer working because it's in the summer. So, yeah, it's less than a year. They could tell I'm so nervous because the camera's around me when I'm trying to talk to this woman. You can see it. One of my nervous things is scratching my head. My family laughs about it when we watch it. It was kind of funny. And I think also because I was kind of good to the woman, her license was suspended for a just non-payment default, I think. But I didn't arrest her. I just summoned her. And she was near a plaza, and she was meeting some guy with her son. And I allowed her to park the car there and go meet the guy without towing it and stuff. So that was that.
Yeah.
This was Real Stories, and this was an OUI on Piedmont Street in Worcester. So they're with the camera with me. The one was a black woman. She was cooperative. Now, as I'm out with the field sobriety, this had to be. I know we didn't have. Did we have? We didn't have portable radios yet, so it had to be. I think this is before I got my. This had to be 95 too, 94, 95. It had to be before 95 because I had a 95 Cruiser. That was my first Cruiser. A crowd was across the street watching the whole thing. And then after I said, she was a real heavy one. After she was done with the field sobriety, you're under arrest. I go to turn her around. She's not fighting me to hit me, but she's just resisting. I'm trying to get her handcuffed, and the crowd across the street is singing the cop song, "Bad Boys." But while the whole thing is going on, I it's the, and they're like going from me to her. The camera's going across the street because they showed me the film editing afterwards. So the gang unit had just started between Worcester P and the state police. So I somehow got to my radio. They came and we put her in the back of the cruiser. And I arrested her and now go off to the barracks. And all the way back to the barracks, she's calling me every white derogatory slang, honky, you call it, cracker, whatever it is, all the way back to the barracks. Get her, book her. She wasn't too bad. Put her in the cell. Now my sergeant at the time, who ended up many years later becoming my station commander at Devens for many years, Charlie McPhail, was like when he first made sergeant. He was the desk sergeant. Now it's time for her to get bailed. Some lady comes to bail her. I don't know why she had her money on her, but she threw her money at me through the cell, and then we get to the booking room, and she's filling out her release paperwork. She looks right at Sergeant McPhail and goes, "You know what? I hope one of you guys gets shot and killed tonight." So then we said, "You're protective custody." We two-man carried her back to the cell, and she had to stay in there until she sobered up. But I said to the real stories guy, I was embarrassed because I had trouble handcuffing her, and I said, I don't want that put on. And I knew they wouldn't anyway because they were singing the wrong song.